My name is Laura. I'm 22 years old and I'm going to be a nun. So whenever I started praying, like the Lord was just telling me, like, I want you whole and entire. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. This was in January. So, throughout the whole semester, the spring semester, I was a missionary. He just kept telling me, I want you whole and entire. And at the time, I was still like open to marriage and open to religious life. And so the Lord was just very patient with me. He was very just loving. And so he just waited until the time was right. And he told me, well, he's been telling me since I was like a young girl. Like I heard the call whenever I was actually in second grade. I told my grandmother I wanted to become a nun, and I didn't know what a nun was. I didn't know what they did, but I told her that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. I love praying, and I love just like being with him. And so I just came to the conclusion, like, yes, Lord, I'm all yours, like for the rest of my life. Whenever I was in college, I dated a guy named Scott, and we dated for three years, and then throughout that whole like dating process, like we were really close. Like he was my best friend. I hung out with him every day, talked to him every day, and I just like loved him to death. And it was a really great relationship. And then he proposed to me last July, not this past July, but the year before. And then things sort of happened to where the Lord like started to separate us, to show us that we will grow closer to the Lord separate. So I ended up ending the engagement in this past January. And at the beginning, I faced the fears. So I had a lot of fears. Those were the big obstacles. Like, what am I going to do if I break up with Scott? Like, what is going to happen to us? Like, will he be mad? What will go on? Like, and I just had to like lay those at the feet of Jesus and just like let him take care of them, and he did. And I also like asked for courage and for strength. Like he gave me a lot of courage and a lot of strength, and praise God for that, because I didn't think I would ever break up with him. So I ended the relationship. The struggles became more about myself and how I needed to be comforted, I needed to be loved, and I was seeking it always in Scott. And so like coming to realize like I was so dependent on him for those things, and in the end like it only comes down to like relying on the Lord, and so putting the Lord first. And so once I came to realize that, I was like, wow, the Lord is my comfort, the Lord is my strength and my refuge. Like that's all I need. So that I had to overcome that, like, because the temptation of like wanting to cuddle with somebody or like wanting to hold his hand or kiss him or hug him, you know, those would always come up, and it's just like, okay, relying on the Lord, like he'll be my comforter. For the future, I'm just going to continue being a missionary until the Lord tells me otherwise. At the moment, I'm just working here at St. Augustine Parish for the year, and then after that, we'll see where God takes me.